Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to never miss a video from us.
Hello and welcome to the Expert Interview Series, and today we are thrilled to have with us Mr. Prashant Hegde, a distinguished leader in software testing. Prashant currently serves as the Engineering Manager QA at MoEngage, a top-tier insight-led computer engagement platform, where he leads high-performing QA teams to ensure unparalleled software quality. Prashant's career is a testament to his passion and dedication to software testing. An empathetic leader, he takes great joy in mentoring others and fostering their success. He's been an active member of the testing, agile, and automation communities, sharing his expertise through over 50 published articles and speaking at conferences worldwide. His contributions have made him an influential voice in the industry. Welcome to the Expert Interview Series, Prashant, and hope our viewers get to learn from your experiences.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Pooja. Happy to be here.
Thank you. So before we start, if you could just tell us more about what quality assurance is and how can one get into this field?
Sure. Software testing is a great field to be in. So if you are an aspiring software tester, there are a number of ways you can get into software testing. Firstly, what software testing basically is, if I have to tell you, software testing is a way of evaluating the software to see if it meets the requirements of the end user. It's basically performing a set of experiments. It's basically exploring a product to assess the quality and then give an update to the stakeholders to make some decisions based on the analysis that you do. So that's what is basically software testing. So if you are an aspiring software tester, then a good way to start is to get into a course about software testing and learn about software testing, practice software testing, and then probably start applying. That's how you can get started.
Okay, so does the development part also come in between, or is it a separate requirement altogether?
So yes, software testing does not mean that there is no coding involved. So if you are a software tester, you definitely will have to know at least one programming language. You need to have the basic skill of at least automating a few simple tests, reducing your repetitive work, and being more productive by using some of the tools and by writing some small scripts. So you definitely need exposure to a programming language. It does not mean that if you are a tester, there is absolutely no coding skills required. That's not the case. You will require programming skills, and you need to learn a few tools to make your day-to-day job easier.
So is it easy to switch from being a software developer to a software tester?
It's usually unlikely. The case that you're talking about is unlikely. Usually developers wouldn't switch to quality assurance, which I haven't seen, but I have seen testers transitioning to the software development side as well. But yes, there are a few people who also have transitioned from being a software developer to a software tester.
I mean, vice versa, either which ways. I mean, the switch is possible.
Both is possible. Most of the organizations, have this internal transfer policies wherein you can actually switch between roles. As long as you have the skills, you can switch between different roles. That is definitely possible.
And it is easy.
I wouldn't say it's easy. You will have to acquire the skills that is required to meet the requirements of the job. If you are moving from any other field to software testing, then you will have to know the fundamentals of testing. You will have to learn a little basics of automation. More importantly, you need to have that critical thinking and the ability to think outside the box. The testing mindset, what we call, that is something that you will have to learn. Yes, it is. I wouldn't say it's easy, but it is something that can be learned.
Okay. So what are the primary responsibilities of a QA engineering manager?
So the responsibility and role and responsibility of a engineering manager QA may vary from organization to organization. But I will tell you what my role basically does, or what I do at MoEngage. So I basically lead and oversee the entire QA organization. My job is to basically lead, mentor, support, guide, and manage a group of testing professionals and ensure highest performance. I'm in charge of creating the testing strategies and approach for all the software products that we roll out.
Okay.
Uh, this is basically overseeing and leading all the testing activities to ensure that we roll out high quality software. I work closely with a group of QA and automation leaders, and I provide them the technical leadership and mentoring that they need. If I have to put it in a simple way, my job is to align the testing unit with the business objectives. So I basically, create a vision of where we should reach probably, some 1 year or 2 years down the line,
Mhm.
and then I share the vision with the team, and I then firstly I make them buy that vision. Once they buy that vision, my job is to then set goals for the team members, and then monitor our progress towards the goals that I have defined. So to do that, I set some metrics and KPIs, and I track the progress towards the defined goals. And my job is also to update my stakeholders about the progress by sharing these KPIs and metrics.
Okay.
Again, my role requires me to not only work with testers but also people from other functions. Let's say I work with people within engineering. It can be developers, designers. I work with people from product, from support, customer success to ensure we roll out high quality software and we provide a great customer experience. My job is to find gaps in the development and QA processes, and to find risks in the product. My job is also to help my people grow. So there are responsibilities towards the product, towards the process, and towards people.
Seems like a lot of work, and I think the concept of three P's, product, process, and people, is where your focus is. So, what qualities do you believe, since you've already worked in this domain and are working right now, what are the important qualities you believe are essential for an effective QA leader?
So I think leadership is multifaceted. There are to be an effective leader in QA or no matter in any profession, I think you will need a combination of different skills and qualities. But in my experience and in my opinion, there are three things that stand out. There are three things that differentiate a great leader from others. So I call it ICE. Okay, that is influence, communication, and empathy. These three are something I think sets great leaders apart. Let me explain. So starting with influence. So basically leadership boils down to influence. Leadership is all about getting people to follow you, your thoughts, your ideas, your vision. And you cannot make that happen if you cannot influence people. You need to be influential in order to do that. Because it's very simple. Influential people get the job done. They are the one who drive transformation in the organization. They are the one who bring business results. If you are not influential, you will not have the ability to rally your team around your ideas or your initiatives. You cannot make people embrace any innovation if you cannot influence. Again, influence is the ability to change someone's view about something. It's basically changing someone's beliefs, thoughts, or mindset about something. It should not be looked at as a negative thing. It's a positive thing. It's not manipulation. It should not be confused with manipulation. When it is influence, you are basically helping the other person to succeed. It's not that you are manipulating them for your benefit. That's not what it is. So the question may arise that how do I become influential then? So to become influential, first the leaders will have to lead by example. Their actions will have to speak louder than words. They will have to walk the talk, and people will look up to you, and they would be willing to get inspired by you only if you are honest, authentic. If you are, if they have the trust about the leader, right?
Right.
So it's always inspiration before influence. The second part of ICE, that is communication. Again, communication is the core of leadership, right? So I told that I speak to so many different people as a leader.
Right.
So what I mean by communication is it's not just speaking some language fluently. It's the ability to convey a complex message in a simple and compelling way, in a way that the other person understands. We spoke about vision and how important it is to communicate the vision. So leaders do that all the time. They communicate with so many different people. Let's say as a tester, you are communicating to your customer. You have to know how to speak their language, how to speak in a layman's language. If you're talking to a developer, you should know how to speak the technical language. If you're speaking to the product, you should know how to speak the business language. So it's easier, said than done. But this is something that is a must for leaders. And it's not just the oral or the verbal communication. It's also the written communication. We use so many channels like Slack, emails.
Right.
Right? So whether it is your presentation skills, conversational skills, these all really matter. And listening also becomes a part of communication. So if you have to communicate well, leaders will have to listen.
Listen.
So yeah, listen. So only when you listen clearly, that's when you can communicate well. So listening also comes in the in the group of communication. The last part is empathy. This is the number one skill I think that the leaders need. Anybody can be a manager, right? If you want to be a leader, I think you have to be empathetic. What empathy means is the ability to put yourself in the shoes of the other person and understand their needs and understand their feelings. Basically, my style of leadership is empathetic. So what that means is you basically care for your team. You seriously care for your team and their long-term success, right? So I think that is something that sets great leaders apart because uh, when you understand where the person comes from, what his background is, what is that he values, what is his strength, what is his weakness, what is that he or she aspires. So when you know that person well, when you build that bond, and then you guide them to long-term success, that's when people like to stay with the leaders. That's when people feel cared, and they stay with organizations. They stay with leaders. That's how leaders can create a positive workspace and also kind of improve the employee retention.
Basically, leaders who who get this concept of ice will be able to break the ice.
Yeah, yes, yes.
I think it's all about breaking the ice
Yes,
within the
it's
team.
all about breaking ice. Yes,
Yeah. So
100%.
if the team is able to communicate well to each other, you are definitely one of the best leaders.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's a good concept.
Yeah, yeah.
You wonderfully presented the qualities, the three most important qualities of leader. So, what are the some of the key strategies that are required, QA strategies that you employ to ensure this high level of software quality within the teams as well?
So there are multiple things, multiple strategies I employ. Again, I will share some of the things that we do uniquely at MoEngage, things that have worked out for us. So one of the strategies that we use is we believe in testing continuously. It is called as continuous testing. So there are these days the trending topics are like shift left, shift right.
Right.
So continuous testing is all about testing as early as possible, testing throughout, and testing late. So basically you are as testers we try to involve as early as possible, right at the ideation stage, right at the PRD stage, and then it goes through from design, code, and even after the code is live, even the testing continues. So we employ several strategies to ensure that there is continuous testing that happens. uh, we use a few social software testing approaches which really have worked out for us. So those two things are, one is pair testing and another one is bug bashers.
Okay.
So pair testing is basically where two people sit together on the same laptop, in front of the same laptop, and they try to test a feature or a small module in a small time box. Let's say in 30 minutes or 60 minutes, they try to test a small piece of the code.
Okay.
And usually it's not usually tester and tester. It can be tested from this team and tested from another team. It could be a tester and a developer. It could be tester and a designer, tester and a product. The value that you get out of it is this helps you to unearth some very elusive bugs which tester might not himself find out, because when you work with expert from some other function, they bring their own expertise to the table. And this method helps in not only knowledge sharing but also to unearth some of the elusive bugs. We found it super valuable. And also bug patches, which is also similar, but the setting is different. Let's say if there is a release, a week before the release, we invite the entire organization, in fact, to
Okay.
test the feature that we are rolling out. So again, everyone is welcome to participate, and we also roll out awards to the winners who participate and find some really good bugs. It's not just about bugs, but it's also about the improvements. It's about the feedback, right? So these two techniques actually help us to get perspectives from across the organization and feedback across the organization, and also it kind of promotes the uh, sense of shared responsibility for quality, right? We keep saying, quality is everyone's responsibility, but to do it in real is it becomes difficult. So these two techniques have helped us big time. Furthermore, speaking about our automation, our automation strategy is usually API first strategy. So
Okay.
what I mean by that is, when we speak about automation, most of us think about UI automation.
Hmm.
But what we have done is we have first focused on nailing the API checks. The API layer is what we focused on first, so that we get maximum ROI from automation.
Okay.
What happens is UI tests can be expensive and they are hard to create, maintain. While the coverage is really good, it sometimes becomes hard to maintain. So we were very cautious about what proportion of tests should be at the UI layer. We focused on the API layer first. And what I mean by API checks is they are not just testing an API independently. We chain the API requests and try to check the core logic end to end by chaining the APIs. That actually has helped us big time, and even we try to have in sprint test automation in place, so that we don't lag when compared to development. Usually somehow automation lags behind the development, so we try to also incorporate in sprint automation, at least at the API level. And recently we did this initiative. This strategy, I think, is something that not many are using. We started to use these automated checks as a black box monitor. That is, we chose a few tests which are super critical for the business,
Okay.
and we started running it in production very frequently. Let's say from every 30 minutes to every 4 hours, depending on the context.
Mhm.
So what it started to do was it started, since we are in a startup mode, there are a lot of releases that happen. There are a lot of uh, unknowns that are there. So there are possibilities wherein bugs may go out. There can be infra issues. There can be outages. So it becomes super important that we detect these problems before the customer does. So there is a big difference in customer coming and telling there is a problem versus we ourselves acknowledging there is a problem and we proactively fix
Right.
it. So this has helped us to find a lot of issues before the customer and proactively fix it.
So I really liked the concept of two people sitting together and bringing in teams for the feedback. I think when you're doing testing on your own, you might not be able to find the fallacy in your own work. But if from a person's perspective, you get a different angle altogether.
So usually that's one thing that we do when there is a new tester. That guy comes with a clean slate, so he has no exposure to the software. So
Plus, they have
those,
more, they're more keen on finding that bug.
yes, yes. So they're since they come with no bias at all, so they are able to view the software and spot those bugs which probably a tester who is testing from several years would not
Able to see.
observe, though it's in front of him.
It's like hibernating with the product or the software that you're
Yes.
with. How, I mean, just out of context I'm going, but I wanted to understand how has automation, changed the whole idea of QA testing, and has it hampered or has it improved the process?
Automation. has in fact helped testing in many ways. The only problem that I see is the expectations from automation, probably from stakeholders and testers themselves, sometimes may be unrealistic. That's the only problem that I see. But otherwise, I think automating a few checks has definitely helped to to prevent repetitive work. It has also, as I said, you helped us to run these tests in production continuously and also find some issues. So I was of the mindset that automation cannot find bugs, but after we experimented this, I also realized that there are cases wherein automation can find issues. So definitely, automation is a tool in the toolbox of the tester. It depends on how you use it. It has its limits, right? It's not a silver bullet. It's definitely a tool in your toolkit. How do you use it is what matters. It is basically a small part of testing that is helping you. That is assisting you to test.
And has it impacted the job market?
Definitely not. So I would say both automation and AI. I think when automation started some 20 years back, people were thinking it will take away the jobs.
Jobs.
But I think it has only increased the number of jobs, right? Instead of testers, now SDETs are being hired, or more automation engineers are needed. Because there needs to be someone who should be writing those scripts, right? So I think it has only increased the number of testing jobs. It's not reduced it in any way.
That's wonderful. I think so. Learn more, and that's the way to move forward.
Yes, definitely.
So, how do you build and maintain high performing QA teams?
When it comes to building and sustaining high performing teams, I think there is no one size that fits all. But again, I will tell you what has worked for me. So, firstly, a high performing team is a team which consistently exceeds expectations and sets new standards or benchmarks when it comes to performance. And this team is hyper focused on achieving their goals. Usually, these goals are challenging, and compared to other teams, this team kind of often exceeds the expectations and does wonders. That's a high performing team. And what is required to create a high performing team? There are a few ingredients that are required.
Okay.
Okay. So, firstly, what you need is you need a group of highly skilled people. Building a high performing team starts with hiring the right people to get the job done. And usually, the skills of the team members complement each other. They are able to independently get the task done without any help or without any support from outside. Okay. First thing is you get the right people to do the job. Uh, and then what you need is, in Kannada there is a saying, okay, Munde Guri Hinde Guru. Hindi mein if I have to say, Aage Laksh Piche Guru. Okay, so you need a challenging goal, okay, a commonly agreed upon goal, and you need a exceptional leader. Okay, and his job, basically this leader's job, is to create an environment. The next thing that we need is the environment where these highly skilled people can maximize their potential. So what that environment means is the environment wherein there is psychological safety. People are not afraid to fail. So the leader creates such an environment where people are enabled to experiment, innovate, and they are not kind of blamed for failure. This is super important for testing, because the job of testers is such that we sometimes will have to argue, disagree, right? We'll have to take the hard calls, and sometimes testers are blamed for the mistakes that are not there. Let's say if there is a bug in production, testers get blamed many times, even though if there is no mistake of theirs. So what I'm trying to say is, the leaders will have to create a blameless culture, the culture of psychological safety, wherein people are not afraid of experimenting or innovating. Right. So the leader's job is to do that, is to create the environment wherein these people can, uh, bring out their best,
Okay.
and he ensures that he continuously appreciates them when required, and also gives them the right feedback continuously. And the last thing that the leader does is, so first we talked about the team,
Team.
then we talked about the leader,
Mhm.
goal that they need, and the environment wherein they can excel. Finally, what the leader does is the bond between these people, right? So the leader also ensures that there is a meaningful connection or bond between the people who are working together. The leader uh, provides opportunity for the team to bond beyond work as well, right? The people, he gives opportunities for the people to know each other well and respect each other, have a meaningful bond. So only when there is a super bond between the people, that's when the team can be a rock star team. So these are some of the ingredients that you need.
So it's more like creating the eye for Arjuna to experiment and give him a safe environment to
Yes,
practice.
yes, exactly.
Right. Very well put. I think a lot of leaders need to listen this and give a safe environment for a safe space for testers to test, experiment, and explore.
Yes, yes. And one more thing, what I want to say to the leaders is, so this is also super important to build. Good that you brought this point up. It's super important that the leaders, give that autonomy to the team members, right? Usually, what leaders think when it comes to leadership is they think it's all about being in control or being the
Yeah.
authority or dictating what has to be done. That's where most of the leaders fail. So if you want to build a high performing team, you need to give that autonomy. Of course, while maintaining that authority, you have to give them the autonomy to make decisions on their own and trust them to do their own decisions,
Right.
and basically guide and mentor them to do that. That is when people can actually trust you, and they have that creative freedom at work, right? Nobody likes to be micromanaged, and every small decision, you don't want your leader to kind of come and do it for you, right? So leaders need to start giving that autonomy to the people, if you want to build a high performing team.
It was long back when dictatorship was a term. Now it's only, I think, we've taken interviews of many people and it's all about mentorship, coaching,
Yes.
working with the team. That's how it is working right now.
Yes.
And the Gen Z has changed all the functionalities altogether.
Right, right.
More casual and fun, and they want to learn, explore.
Yes, yes. Nobody, likes to be micromanaged, or uh, yes, you should give them the direction of where to head, but give them the autonomy to, achieve those goals, of course.
Right, right. So, as we know that, of course, software testing, quality assurance, these are all very fragile and they need continuous upgrades and often it becomes obsolete. So, what trends do you see emerging in the field of software testing in the coming years?
So one thing that everybody is talking about is AI and the
Right.
application of AI in software testing. Uh, that's something which is definitely a trend to look out for. So if you see today, I think after OpenAI released the Chat GPT last year, I think AI became more accessible to people and even testers. So people have started to already embrace it. People have started using AI to write test cases, generate test scripts, to generate test data. It has been started. People have started using it in test automation, maintaining test automation, writing test scripts. Many day-to-day tools that we use have come up with AI capabilities now
Right.
to make the work of testers much more efficient.
Even WhatsApp has Meta AI now.
WhatsApp has Meta AI, right? So now it's become super easy for you to, let's say, to create an image, or to, no matter what, write a poem, write an email, write a script, right? So for many testers, the barrier would be, writing some scripts or writing some programs. So
Right.
now all you need to know is know how to prompt well. You should know English well. So it is basically enabling testers to be much more efficient and effective. Even the when it comes to automation, I think many of the tools already have the self-healing capabilities,
Hmm.
or even test orchestration, prioritizing tests. So there are a lot of applications of AI. I think testers have started to explore and also embrace AI. That's the number one trend. The second trend that I see is API testing and monitoring.
Okay.
So API testing is not something new. It has been there for quite some time. But as more and more monoliths now are moving towards the microservice architecture, APIs kind of have become super important. The APIs today power the business. A downtime of an API means that there is a direct business impact if there is a API that is down, because APIs are used to APIs are used to talk between two services or between two apps as well. So businesses now cannot afford a downtime of an API.
Downtime.
It's high time that testers now have to learn API testing, writing API automation tests, and even monitoring these APIs and ensure there is uptime, performance, functionality wise they are doing well. And the final thing I think, which not many are talking, is testing the user experience.
Okay.
So usability is a small part of user experience. It's not exactly usability testing what I'm talking about. UX basically means what it feels like to
Using.
use a product. It can be a subjective thing, but that's what is defining the business success or failure today, right? Because people no longer want the apps that just work, right? They want to have a great experience while doing so.
Correct.
If it is just doing the job, I don't think that will cut it, right? It has to feel great. That's what people want. So I think testers are in a great position to evaluate the user experience of a product, because uh, testers can put themselves in the shoes of the user, and they have that ability to empathize with the customer. So I think testers are uniquely positioned to test the user experience of a product. So this is definitely a trend I see, user experience and testing user experience. So yeah, these are my top three trends that I see.
So, followed by the trends that you see are upcoming in the future. How do you stay updated with these trends?
Right. So this is 2B and 3C. Okay, so books, blogs, conferences, courses, and communities.
Okay.
Okay. So books are my best friends. I learn a great deal by reading books.
Okay.
I follow some of the software testing leaders, peers. I read their blogs, and that kind of gives me insights into where we are heading. I'm part of several communities, software testing communities, that I follow the conversations that happen there. Uh, and in fact, these communities also organize conferences, webinars, podcasts, and whatnot. So these are all great sources to learn where the industry is heading. And finally, I spoke about courses. If there is something that I want to learn, I enroll myself in a course, and then I try to upskill myself. Today, there are ample of resources available. The only thing is you need to have that zeal to learn. Maybe some 5 years or 10 years before, maybe you did not have enough resources to learn, but now you have resources, but not
You
sure
just
how much
need
they
that
are.
push and motivation.
Yes, yes. So yeah, books, blogs, communities, conferences, and courses.
Wonderful. The two B's and the three C's are the criteria to move forward.
Yes.
Correct. So, as we conclude, we are moving to the last question. What advice would you like to give to young aspirants who want to pursue a career in software testing and QA as a profession?
Sure. So for all the aspiring software testers, I think it's a great profession to be in. I think software testers are the unsung heroes of the software world. Software testers make the digital world so secure, so reliable, and make it, and they are key in providing great experiences to people.
Correct.
So it's a wonderful job to be in. Uh, but it should not be viewed as a easy way to get into the IT industry, or not to be looked as a transitional role. So what has happened is, I interview a lot of people for the testing roles. So in the last 2 3 years, what I'm observing is the quantity of number of people trying to come to testing has increased. However, the quality has gone down drastically, right?
Mhm.
So my advice to people who want to pursue software testing is, uh, learn the real skills that is required. I see a lot of candidates trying to mug up the stock interview questions. That's not going to help you go anywhere, right? So my suggestion is practice software testing. So you can use some real applications to test, or you can enroll yourself in a beta testing program, or become a crowdsourced tester, contribute to open source, uh, right? So practice software testing, practice automation, right? Learn real skills over just learning a few definitions, because today the expectations from the businesses have skyrocketed, right? They want testers to be like, Superman. They should know literally everything, but the kind of candidates that are coming in, they are really mediocre, to be very honest. So yes, software testing is a great profession to be in, but it's challenging as well. It's challenging as well. So when I wanted to, become a software tester, people told me that, automation will eat away software testing jobs. Testers don't get good salary. There is no future to software testing and whatnot, right? But I was passionate. I was very determined to, continue this path.
Okay.
And yes, there would be a lot of negativity that you would hear around software testing, software testers. But trust me, this is a great field to be in. But yes, it is challenging as well. Maybe a mediocre developer probably would get success much more easily than a great tester. The testers will have to constantly prove their worth and show their value. That is what I have noticed. Uh,
It has been seen that after college, most of the times while hiring companies, they pick up candidates for software testing only. That's the only role that is given. Is this true somehow?
uh, I mean, there would be companies who would hire for both development and software testing, but many times people are, freshers are not sure of what they should do, right, for the software testing.
Okay.
Usually, they are influenced by others saying that software development is the way forward.
Yeah.
Uh, but companies do hire for both software development and testing profiles.
So there is no forced decision that okay, you have to do testing only, or you have to
Not
begin by testing and then you move to development. Is that the case?
maybe in some companies, I'm not sure of this, but usually it's not that way, right? They, based on the skills the person has, probably the companies would, place them accordingly.
So I think you've clarified most of my doubts, and I hope people who are watching it, their doubts are also cleared. And it was wonderful to interview you, and little takeaways that I am taking, and hope others who view this will also learn the 2B and 3C and the I's. Wonderful concepts, sir, and it was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Pooja. Wonderful to be here. Thanks.
Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to never miss a video from us.